We like the Springleaf site very much because it has the best of both worlds. It's near to the forest, so it's surrounded by nature, but it's also served by the Thomson East Coast line, so it's only a 2 minutes walk from the Springleaf Admiralty station. It also is a line that serves residents to go to CBD for work, go to Orchard for shopping, go to Botanic Gardens, and eventually to the airport in the future. So with this sort of catchment of residents and also work and leisure spaces, we feel that it can be very attractive to people not just from immediate vicinity. Another reason is because the area hasn't seen any large condominium development within a 500-meter radius. So this will be the first condominium development in the area. The area is also similar to Lentor, very near and surrounded by landed housing estate. So it has that private housing estate feel to it. So that again, to us, will make the space quite unique. Springleaf Residence site is in a way somewhat similar. We feel that we can once again come in as the first project and set the tone and set the quality for the Springleaf estate. The site is very large. It is almost 350,000 square feet. So with this large area and undulating terrain, we were able to create a very interesting landscape that has activities and users catering to people of different ages, from young children to adults to elderlies. We've also layered the concept of our activities based on those that are more active and for communal, and those that are more contemplative, and also those that are more nature-based. We have used cocoon to guide our design for our common area pavilions because they kind of look like birds' nests. In a way, we felt that they will kind of sit well within the landscape area. We are using a lot of interesting native species within the development. So we will be putting plaques and information panels for kind of educational purpose. So the wish is also that the residents living here, especially the children, will get to learn more about the different species that are found within the condominium. The lighting is something interesting because being near to the forest, we have to minimize the light pollution towards the forest. We know through the studies, color temperature has to be more on the yellower side. So that's how we have selected the range of lighting, the more gentle color temperature in alignment with the circadian rhythm. So that's hopefully will make us more healthy. What we have found out is that when we were designing for ecology, for biodiversity sensitivity, actually we are also enhancing the wellness of the residents here. Another aspect of our design was the conservation of the school building. That has guided us to create a heritage zone. So with the conservation of the school building, we have also introduced a school field with a running track around it. The old school is quite large. For a portion of it, we are converting to residential apartments. These were the classrooms before, and it actually is quite interesting for us to play with how to fit in a nice layout within the constraint of the structure. There is a segment, the annex part of the block. We are converting that to common amenities. So there will be gym, there will be co-working spaces, which kind of is like a classroom. And also we have what we call a maker's space. We were thinking back at maybe they are like the technical room or home economics room. So there you can use the space to do stuff, have pottery, and even have dining as well. We have introduced what we call the ECA block. ECA means extracurricular activities. There will be 3 function rooms. So there are 3 separate dining spaces that can also be combined into one large dining hall. And linked to it are 2 dining pavilions. You can have 4 or 5 different parties and events going on at the same time, or you can combine all into one mega party. We hope that this can become a very active residential engagement zone. So maybe we can kind of bring back the kind of a school vibrancy into the condominium. Given the large site area, we have the flexibility to place the towers in order to maximize views from within the apartments. Some of the towers will have totally unblocked views towards the forest, and you can see as far as Upper and Lower Seletar Reservoir. Whereas for the other blocks, we will maximize their distance so that the spacing can be optimized to create as open a view as possible. One of the core design philosophy for us is to design the units from inside out and with the end user in mind. So our units, we actually take a lot of pains to refine them till the space is highly efficient and flexible so that the homeowners could change and manage and adapt the units over time as their needs change. For the conserved school building, we have adapted the classrooms into apartments. The classrooms have relatively high ceilings and the space is quite regular. So as a result, they adapted very well to new apartments with rather nice spatial quality. We are always thinking about what is the new way of living and how will lifestyle evolve over time. Besides the trademarks of GuocoLand, whereby we always design the spaces from inside out with flexibility and entertaining at home being very key guiding principles, here we have also imbued it with a stronger emphasis on wellness. You have MRT, you are connected to the rest, but you can retreat to a very natural environment.
Canfora is the biodiversity consultant for this project, and our role here is to help the project team recognize the sensitivities and opportunities of developing a residence next to a forest. For Springleaf Residence, it will be located next to Springleaf Forest, which is a very biodiverse area with sensitive plants and animals living in the vicinity. So this collaboration ensures that the future development will be designed sensitively so that the residents can live harmoniously with nature, and at the same time we allow biodiversity to thrive in the surroundings. Based on our understanding of the plants and animals in the vicinity, we propose some design solutions that will help to minimize the unwanted encounters and promote positive ones between the residents and wildlife. So the first one is the boundary wall. So this boundary wall is going to be specially designed to help prevent the incursion of the ground-dwelling animals. The wall will have a smooth finish with a solid material, and it is going to be at least 2 meters high. And this height considers the jumping height of the larger ground-dwelling animals such as the wild boar and the samba deer. To prevent the smaller ground-dwelling animals from entering, the bottom of the wall is not going to have any gaps, no drains. Secondly, the design of the tower blocks themselves are also special, and they are designed to prevent the incursion of climbing animals such as long-tailed macaques onto the tower blocks itself or into the residential units. For example, the walls and the columns of the tower blocks are going to have a smooth finish, so this deters the climbing animals. There's also going to be an all-round cantilever apron above the first story of each of the tower blocks. And this cantilevered apron is deep enough to prevent long-tailed macaques with their long arm spans from reaching over onto the second level and above. The third item would be the landscape amenities as well as the landscape planting have also been considered to prevent such human-wildlife conflict. So for the landscape amenities, for example, there will not be any barbecue pits on the ground floor, and instead the barbecue pits will be provided on the sky terraces. For the planting strategies, there will not be any planting of fruit trees that are attractive to long-tailed macaques on the ground floor of the condominium grounds, and this will help to further prevent human-wildlife conflict between the residents and long-tailed macaques. To promote positive interactions with smaller animals such as birds and butterflies, several landscape strategies have been adopted. So, for example, the meadow will be largely planted with butterfly attracting nectar as well as host plants. For the birds, there's going to be a native forest corridor that's planted along the southern boundary of the parcel, and this will help to provide a means of wayfinding for birds that are moving between Springleaf Forest and the other forest patches in the vicinity. On the tower blocks, there's going to be the sky terraces as well as other forms of skyrise greenery along the gable end walls, and these will help to provide microhabitats that can be used by the more urban adapted birds. Being one of the first private residential developments in Singapore that places biodiversity considerations at the forefront of the design, this is certainly a project that similar developments in future can look to as an example.
The uniqueness of this project is that it is really next to the nature reserve, and in today's resort design, it is about sustainability and biodiversity and the proximity to nature. So when we deal with this project, the idea is how to bring the whole nature reserve into the project. So how to create this seamless transition between nature and daily living. That is the key for the project. What we try to do here is to craft a narrative where the pavilions form a story. So the pavilions, we call them cocoons, come in various sizes and they cater to different functions. For example, for yoga, for dining, for pets. And these pavilions are translated all the way up to the sky terraces as well. We wanted to bring the whole idea of the ground landscape concept into the sky terraces. The cocoons by itself give you that sense of security. At the same time, the perforations allow you to look at the views around it. In resort design, one of the most important elements is that difference between day and night. And this is really a result of lighting as well as careful design. Why the difference between day and night? Because in the day, you experience spaces in a different way from the night. And in this project, because the cocoons are all different size, different shapes, and having different types of trees and plants, each of them is really unique by itself. But one can experience them through a series of journeys in the day and in the night. So I think the whole concept is to see them as a whole rather than individual. I would say that Springleaf Residence is really the starting point of the local engagement with living in close proximity to nature. It would therefore create a kind of a blueprint that will encourage the whole mindset of how to embrace nature.